live and in color with your boy, doing another astrology video. If you're new to the channel, hey, welcome. Hit that subscribe button. It only takes a second and it's free. Hit that like button for me for tapping in. And if you like the content, definitely like it if you like it. And comment down below because I'm always here and I love to chat with y'all, create a dialogue. We just did Mars, why it matters, Mars placement in astrology, and I mentioned Venus a couple times there. So we're just gonna knock this out. This will be the last of the personal planets, since I have talked about your Sun, Moon, rising, Mercury, and now Mars. Venus will be the last of the personal planets. Let's get into it. Also, if you do not know your natal chart, have not done that, check out astro.com. Definitely Google search. There are a lot of reputable websites to find that information. You will need your day of birth, your date of birth, your city of birth, and the exact time to get the most accurate placements. But even without the time, you can still get your placements. You just wouldn't have your houses. So there's that. But let's talk about it. So, and I also want to make sure that I talk about Venus in this video and touch on a few things that are a little different than what is generally and usually talked about. But let's get into it. So Venus, your natal placement in astrology, most people talk about how that represents the beauty in your chart, what you value, your physical possessions, things of that nature. It is the ruler of the sign of Taurus and also of Libra. So those are both like the beauty signs. And the second house, which people talk about how that represents your possessions, your values, which can mean a lot of things, and also your finances, right? So those are all things Venus, yes. The way I want to talk about it though, Venus is really like the place of your integrity, your beauty, what you find beautiful, what you find attractive, how you make yourself beautiful and attractive, and um, the values that you have. And when I say values, I don't, mean like valuables, those physical things that mean a lot to you, even though that is very much so Venus, but more so the things, the intangible things, your values, your principles, those things that you stand on and are not willing to change, right? That's Venus. It can also in a lot of ways relate to sex, but more so in less in the physical dominance way of Mars, but more so in the sensual, like feelings based attraction and intimacy parts of those those types of that the acts of sex and things of that nature. um I personally have a Venus in Capricorn, and you know I've been using myself as the example for these astrology videos. One, because I know my natal chart, and also two, because knowing and having studied those aspects and placements, in the signs that I have them, has been the easiest way for me to relay that information. So take this with a grain of salt, and like I say, be like the CIA, always trust and verify. But Venus, and I'm not sure completely, so this is one of those things you would have to verify on your own. But with the signs of like Venus, Mercury, and Mars, they can be in very different signs from your sun. Um, but like Mercury is one of those planets, like, is never more than about two placements away from your sun, two signs away from your sun sign natally. Venus, I believe, is like one of those other signs that's either like one or two signs away, or depending on when you're born, it could actually be anywhere. So yeah, just check on that, do your research. But Venus it can determine how you behave with your lover, especially in those things that are not, you know, sexually based. It's like what you are looking for in a potential lover that makes you feel good. Um, those things that, again, this is like Taurus, Libra, second house things, but those things that you find to add value to your life, that you find truth in and meaning in and want to possess in the physical way. Like, for instance, if you have Venus and Taurus, that's a placement that kind of talks about, food, sensual things, having stability and comfort, are all things that mean more to you than anything else. So in any situation, dealing with any person, and really in any place that you find yourself, like having the placement of like Venus and Taurus would make you feel more comfortable knowing that those things that, you know, mean something to you, again, would be like, food, comfort, sensuality, finance, things of that nature. Those are things that you are looking for in anything, in any person, any place that you find yourself. If those aspects, are not there, it makes you, or it can put a tension on that Venus placement, right? So Venus, again, like Mars, Mercury, the Sun, Moon, and your rising placements, is very personal. It's one of those things that like starts internally, like the values and principles that you have, the integrity that you have, is manifested outside of yourself. And going back to the car analogy of, you are a vehicle for spirit, right? If the sun is the actual car, the moon is the interior, the rising is the exterior, and the Mars is the fuel in the car that drives you. Venus would be like those physical things that you have in possession inside the car, like your registration, smell goods, like a seat cover, or like a steering wheel cover, things of that nature. I'm just looking around. I'm actually sitting in a car, so it's making a lot of sense to me. Um, and then also, I just got this. This is a download, but Venus can represent how you shift gears, like the actual gears that you shift through. Where like Mercury would more so be like the GPS, or the way that you shift through the gears. Um, Venus would be like that crankshaft of, I'm moving this way for this thing because of this, right? Mars gives you the fuel, Mercury gives you the navigation, Venus gives you those landmarks outside that you're looking for, and also the items inside the car. I don't know why I couldn't think of that word. Let's see. What else? What else? What else? Venus, along with the rising, especially if you have Venus on your rising, we would call that a Venus rising, um, has a lot of influence on your external look, your aesthetic, and that's like more so Libra territory. The aesthetic, the poise, the way that you carry yourself, and you carry yourself in a way because you have those intrinsic values, those morals, that integrity that you're not willing to, compromise for anybody else, and carrying that within you is what you're using to identify those things outside of yourself that give you that sense of, peace in the senses, a sense of comfort, within yourself, and the ability to see the beauty, in the world and outside of yourself. What else? What else? What else? It can have a lot to do with finances. I'll say that, because Venus, gives you that influence of what you find valuable and what morals mean the most to you. It can determine a lot of ways, in a lot of ways, the work that you're willing to do, the jobs that you're willing to take based on what it's going to add in a financial or stable way to your life, and how you look, not just physically, but like your demeanor, your aura, your overall self, how you look in those places where you have comfort, and also in those places where you don't. Like Venus, a lot of people don't know that it's actually a very volatile, violent place to be. Like it rains acid nonstop. The atmosphere is not breathable, and it's it's very hot. Like Venus is actually usually around 900 degrees at all times. And so it's like that razor commercial. I'm your Venus, I'm your fire, your desire. So it's like that again, where Mars is like a more dominant masculine energy of influence and aggression and passion, assertion. Venus, along with Pluto, because Pluto is like the feminine side of Mars, or like Mars, rules both Aries and Scorpio. Scorpio is a sign that balances between that masculine and feminine energy, but really more so rocks in the feminine energy ways. Venus is kind of like that. The difference being like Pluto is more so trauma, the darkness, pain, things of that nature. Venus is pleasure. It's sensuality. It's those things that excite your senses. And depending on what house or sign that it's in, gives you that picture that shows you, for the house, in what areas of your life you find the most beauty or need to establish, you know, more of a sense of peace, pleasure, sensuality, and passion. And then the sign gives you the way that that energy operates. So again, like say for me, I have Venus in Capricorn. That means that all the things, stability, structure, patience, wisdom, uh, the ability to make goals and hit those goals, accomplishment status, things of that nature, it kind of represents like the older generations. Those are things that mean a lot to me, that give me more of a sense of peace and comfort. Um, where I also have, Capricorn in the 11th house. So Venus would be in the 11th house for me, which represents my goals and aspirations, um, the networks of people that I connect to, how I operate in, the sense of dealing with the human collective and benefiting the world at large, where, the 11th house usually and traditionally represents the sign and the areas of Aquarius, and the opposite of that being Leo, where the fifth house would be the opposite of the 11th house. So for me, that's more so like using my Venus to beautify the world, using things that are beautiful and, integral to people to incite passion in my social networks, being able to reach out in a way that is, pleasurable to those who receive my energy, being charming, affable, personable, being able to really stabilize, in a way, stabilize and bring harmony to the networks that I find myself in. What else? What else? What else? What else? For Venus, what else for Venus? I don't know why I talk like that, but I do, and I love it. No complaints. Um, I think that's about it, y'all. I think that's about it. So, yeah, again, check out your natal chart, find out where your Venus is, that will give you so much information. And there's so many videos about Venus here on YouTube. So don't just take my word for it, check out some other people, also do your own research. Once you get your natal chart, you can use that to, it's like a hack, like a cheat sheet, a hack of life to really understand how to implement that beautiful energy that you have and hold and are expressing and displaying for others to see. Um, it can also have a little bit to do with romance. I think I touched on that, but like Venus shows you how you love and how you'd like to be loved when it comes to, relationships, things of that nature. So there's definitely that. I'm feeling like, with all that being said, I actually was going to do a like love reading today. So hit that like button, comment down below, let me know, if you are excited for that and any other types of readings that you might be looking forward to. Definitely here, you are the people of my people. This is my community. You are my family, and I wouldn't be here without you. So I'm definitely here to, you know, hear and receive your feedback, take that into consideration, and use that information to implement more content for you guys that, in a Venus way, you're gonna love it, right? So other than that, I think that's it. My name BeeKayy. I say namaste. Beautiful is how you stay, and I'm never too far away. And I thank you. You are beautiful and a wonderful, and I love you. See you in a minute. Yep.